Today we're going to build a website with Docusaurus. Docusaurus is an open source static site generator brought to you by the people at Facebook. It's quite easily my favorite, and I think it's easy to get started with. So today we're going to build a website that has light mode, dark mode, built-in search. It's powered by Markdown. It's built using React, and it's translation ready. I think the first thing we should do is give it a star on GitHub. This helps other developers find it more easily and contribute. Next, we should click the Getting Started button, which will bring us over to the documentation. Here we are. Now, there's a lot here and it might seem a bit overwhelming. Don't let it. I'm going to be your guide and I'm going to walk you through. So give the intro a quick read, but we're going to use the fast track method. Now, the first thing it wants us to do is install Node.js. We're going to use the long-term support. That's what LTS stands for. I'm on Windows, so I'll use the Windows installer. Once that downloads, we're going to follow the prompt. Okay, here I am. I'm just going to go through the install process. So accept the agreement, choose the path. Oh, let's talk about this. It's going to install a few dependencies for us, such as Chocolatey, Node Package Manager, and it is going to add it to the path for us. This is handy, so we can call Node commands directly from the command line. You'll see that in action later. It's not very complicated. Give this checkbox a tick. It's going to install dependencies that are going to speed up our development workflow, such as Chocolatey, which is another package manager, much like NPM. If you're new to development, package managers will help you install packages of pre-written code that'll speed up your development workflow. It's great. Oh, I have a little bit of a security issue. I just have to give some permissions here. If you notice that my Windows is looking a little different from yours, that's because I'm on a Windows 11. Don't worry, nothing is too different about it. It's got a nicer UI and it's a lot faster. Let's go ahead and accept this. It's just asking for our permission to install Python and Chocolatey. A few other things it may or may not need to work. One thing I should mention, if you're new to development and you don't know what the hell a Node.js is, I'm assuming you've read the About section before you installed this, but if you haven't, it allows us to run asynchronous JavaScript. And that opened a lot of doors for the world of JavaScript development. Now we can run server-side JavaScript, etc. Now, this looks different for me than it will for you because I already have Chocolatey on my path. That's okay. Just follow the prompts and you shouldn't have any problems. If you do, you might need to run your PowerShell as an administrator. I don't think you will, though. The installer should take care of that for you. So here's the About section that I was mentioning. And this little snippet of code right here, that's all you need to run a server with JavaScript. So it opened a lot of doors for JavaScript developers. JavaScript was initially intended to be a front-end language. It's an interpreted language, which means that the browser interprets it and then it translates it or interprets it for the computer. So Chrome does a lot of the work, whereas a compiled language such as C, C#, Dart, these can be compiled down into machine code, byte code, or even binary. Okay, so let's go back over to Docusaurus for 1 second. Here we are. So I'm going to click copy on this next line of mystery code. I'm going to explain this. npx at Docusaurus, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so bundled up with Node.js is npm, which is a package manager. Package manager is a way to manage packages of pre-written code. Open source code. So npm will allow you to basically import some pre-written code that'll speed up your development workflow and make your life a lot easier. Anyhow, it comes bundled with Node.js, and Microsoft recently bought it. It's now part of the GitHub family. So this little command npx Docusaurus start, that's the npx part. That is node package installer. So you will see npm install, package name, whatever, and you'll also see npx. There is no difference. It's still npm. Npx is just the installer. It's not going to install it to your computer. It's going to install it to the project. And then you'll notice after it's all said and done, you'll have this weird folder called node modules, and it's got a bunch of mystery stuff in it. Don't worry about that. That's just dependencies that the project needs to make Docusaurus run behind the scenes. You're not going to have to upload it as part of your website, and you're not going to have to understand all of the code that's in there. Anyhow, I wanted to take a quick sidebar on package managers because they confused the hell out of me when I started. And another thing, we're going to be using the command line. I avoided the command line as a noob developer for a long time, and I regret it. It's much easier. It's a little awkward. Once you get the hang of it, it speeds up development really, really fast. You know when the cowboys twirl their gun right after they do a shootout, or before they shoot the bad guy? Using the command line kind of makes me feel like that. Clint Eastwood just twirling my gun, you know? Anyways. So don't worry about those little errors you saw me getting. That's because I have a plugin installed that's not behaving. Has nothing to do with this. Okay, so let's fire up Docusaurus for the very first time and check it out. So the first thing we're going to do, and I'm going to call out all of my shortcuts. I feel it's very important to mention, don't memorize syntax. You will eventually. Repetition is the master of learning. The 10,000 hour rule. You do anything enough, you're going to get the hang of it. But memorize your shortcuts if you can. You're going to forget, but look them up. Shortcuts speed up your development workflow. Again, it gives the whole cowboy twirling the gun kind of feels I am elite hacksaw. Okay? So control tilde. That's this little squiggly there. Or the backtick. So control tilde will open and shut this little drawer. We're going to click on terminal. This is also a Microsoft PowerShell. So here on the command line, we're going to change directory. So cd ... That's how you move up a directory. I'm actually going to go back in there. So cd, and then I just started typing out the name of my username, and I hit tab for autocomplete. So no, I went back into the folder I just left. I typed in ls. This lists everything in that folder. I'm trying to decide where I should put this. I might actually just make a new folder. So mkdir for make directory. And now we put a name. I'm going to call it dev. Cool. So cd dev, change directory dev. Okay, now we're in dev, ls. Nothing shows up. It's empty. Let's put stuff in it. Let's put a Docusaurus website in it. So on my clipboard, if you remember, I copied this weird little command. So it's going to tell npm that I want to install this package. I just changed it to Facebook. There's different versions, different flavors of Docusaurus you can install. So what it's doing now is it's initializing with npm. So it's doing a lot for me. It's making sure I have all the right dependencies, and if I don't have them, it's going to go out and grab those for me. Dependencies, again, are just packages of pre-written code that help the software run. You don't have to understand it all or how it's working behind the scenes. Right now, we're just building a website with Docusaurus. When it comes time to know about these things, as a developer, I hope you understand by now that it's mostly looking things up and less memorizing. It looks like everything went okay. It says thank you. Cool. And then it even showed us a bunch of commands that we can run, like npm start. Let's try that and see what happens. Oh, first we have to go into the correct directory. Oh, I made a mistake. Okay, so we're going to type in code dot. Dot just denotes the current directory that we're in on the command line. Boom, it just opened an instance of VS Code. So this is one of those shortcuts I was telling you it would be cool to memorize, because see how fast it was? And it opened up an instance of VS Code in the my website directory that we were currently in on the command line. So yeah, it just made things faster. Don't worry about those errors. That's a Shopify plugin misbehaving. We're working on fixing that. Nothing to do with this. Yeah, that's overwhelming, huh? All those files up there. Let's not worry about them right now. Most of them we won't have to touch. Let's type in that command that we were told to. I'm going to shut this. And I just wanted to show you that I am syncing with my GitHub. And I find that really, really handy. It helps me if I'm moving from computer to computer. It helps me keep my VS Code settings in sync. Okay, so yeah, this is my website, and it's got a bunch of stuff in here, and it's really overwhelming. Don't worry about it. Just don't. With anything, start with the README. Okay. Now in here, it just gives us some very basic instructions, some commands that we can run. Here it says yarn start. Don't let that confuse you either. Yarn is just Facebook's version of npm. npm works just as well. They work the same. They're both package managers. Here, let's just go over there so you're not confused. Install them both. I mean, I do. Yarn package at yarnpkg.org. Oh, they switched it to com. Okay. Yeah, it's the same. It works the same. You can use the search function, and you can look for pre-written packages. You can use either or on the command line. Most packages are out there. Just one is owned by Microsoft, the other is owned by Facebook. It's all open source, all of the same packages will be there. They behave much the same. So we want to run one of these commands in the README. Let's do the npm start and see what happens. We don't have yarn installed, so see, we got an error. No, let's not worry about it. npm start. Gotcha. Okay, oh, I have a little, I'm going to switch this over to private. Boom, we have a website. It's running on our local host, :3000. That's the port it's running on. Click stuff. Oh my god, it works. Dark mode. It's already done for us. And there was the GitHub link. It brings us to the official Docusaurus GitHub page. Now here you can learn a lot more about it. Everybody involved, contributors. You can become a contributor. Backers, these are people who will financially help us out. And sponsors, companies that want to kind of get behind it. Okay, back to Docusaurus. This is our website. So you have a website. It's called My Facebook Project. It's got a blog, light mode, dark mode. We got some feature boxes, and even some links in the footer to help us get through. So the style guide, the Discord community, and I showed you the GitHub. Next step is we're going to customize this and we're going to make it our own.